nanalo ng Family Feud ng Team The Viajeros ng 200,000 pesos.
Family Feud, 5:35 p.m.
Welcome to my episode that is called
That's okay.
Just a day after the US began escorting ships through the Strait of Hormuz, President Donald Trump has announced the effort is being paused. In a post on social media, Trump says the short pause has been mutually agreed to, and it's to see whether an agreement with Tehran can be reached, adding that great progress has been made. He said the blockade of Iranian ports remains in force. There was no immediate reaction from Tehran. Hours earlier, Trump had repeated his stance that Iran should be giving up.
They should wave the white flag of surrender. In hockey, they say, uncle, right? When are they gonna cry uncle?
The Pentagon had said the vital waterway was open and secure, and that hundreds of vessels were lined up to pass through, even as the United Arab Emirates, a US ally, reported missile and drone attacks coming from Iran. Iran denied carrying out those attacks. Pentagon reporter Idris Ali says despite the attacks at sea, the fact the war hasn't restarted in earnest is significant.
There's also a lot that we're not seeing happen, and namely that's the fact that the United States and Israel have not started or restarted strikes against Iran on land. And I think, going into the week, that was a real possibility. It's still a real possibility. And I think as the days go on, we're going to see if that doesn't happen. I think it's going to, again, raise the hope and specter of, some sort of peace negotiations or peace talks coming to some sort of agreement.
Markets are responding to the renewed Iran deal optimism, and AI trades are on the up. For more, here's Mike Dolan, host of our sister market podcast, Morning Bid.
Yeah, pretty confusing picture from the Gulf overnight, but it's clearly added to what was already a build-up stock market, and it's dragged oil prices back down. The suspension of this Project Freedom attempt is read as a sign that a deal may be in the works. But already Wall Street was hitting record highs, and there was an attempt to look deeper into the huge AI build that's going on behind all the headlines from Iran.
You can find Morning Bid wherever you get your podcasts. The president of OpenAI has told a California court that Elon Musk pushed for full control of the company in order to raise $80 billion, money Musk wanted to use to colonize Mars. Greg Brockman says Musk is lying in saying he didn't want OpenAI to turn into a for-profit, but rather that Musk supported the move and wanted to run OpenAI himself. Musk is seeking $150 billion in damages from OpenAI, accusing the company of abandoning its benefit for humanity mission. Last night's primaries in Indiana show President Trump's power to reshape the GOP in his image remains strong. Trump had endorsed candidates to unseat the Republicans who had defied him over redistricting, and most of them won their races. While over in Ohio, former Senator Sherrod Brown is projected to win the Democratic primary, setting up a matchup with Republican John Husted. And that contest is a must-win for Democrats if they hope to retake the Senate. To explain, here's Reuters correspondent Richard Cowan.
What's interesting in this race particularly is that Ohio is one of maybe 4 Senate races across the United States that Democrats are really investing a lot of money in. They think that if they can flip the Senate seat in Ohio back to the Democratic column, along with races in North Carolina, Alaska, Maine, and maybe even Texas if they're having a really good night. If they can flip those 4 or 5 seats, they have a very good shot at gaining a majority in the Senate.
It also forces Republicans to spend a lot of money in the lead up to the November midterms on races that they usually take for granted.
Democrats are hopeful. They look at Trump's poll numbers and people upset with the Iran war and with high prices, especially with gasoline related to the war. And Democrats think they have the wind in their sails, but there's still quite a ways to go. To really capture the Senate, they have to have an incredibly great night. They have to defend all the seats that they currently have. They can't lose any, plus pick up at least 4.
A federal employment agency is suing the New York Times, accusing the newspaper of passing over a white man for a top editorial role in favor of a less qualified candidate to meet diversity goals. It's a reverse discrimination case from the US Equal Employment Opportunity Commission and signals a dramatic shift in how the federal agency is approaching employment law under President Trump, who's made attacking DEI programs a centerpiece of his second term. The Times says it's a politically motivated move and calls its own hiring practices merit-based and says it will fight back vigorously. One more piece of news from the US. Senate Republicans are pushing ahead with a plan that would use taxpayer dollars to help fund President Trump's White House ballroom project. The proposal is tucked inside a much larger spending package of nearly $72 billion aimed at boosting immigration enforcement. That would bypass Democratic opposition. It includes $1 billion earmarked for Secret Service security upgrades. The language includes the White House ballroom, but doesn't spell out exactly how much of that $1 billion would actually go toward the project. In Ukraine, firefighters attempt to put out the flames as cars burn along a residential street in the city of Kramatorsk. Russian attacks killed at least 27 people on Tuesday, just hours before a ceasefire announced by Ukraine was meant to take effect. Russia had earlier said it would begin its own 2-day ceasefire on Friday to mark the Soviet victory in World War II. Neither side had agreed to the other's ceasefire plans. Millions of soccer fans living in some of the world's biggest countries may not be able to watch the World Cup next month because of broadcast rights issues. In India, FIFA says the company vying for the rights is not offering enough, while in China there's been no deal announced at all. Company news editor Aditya Kalra has more.
As it stands, both countries have not signed any deal with FIFA, and it is coming down to the value of the rights. In India, there's Reliance and the Disney joint venture, which has basically proposed a $20 million valuation for the rights, which FIFA is very unhappy with. This is according to our sources.
In China, the issue is the same, with a disagreement over the value of the rights, according to media reports. And that market is a big deal for FIFA.
FIFA said that last World Cup, they accounted for half of the digital and social media viewership only came from China. So that just tells you how big China is on soccer viewership. There's just no certainty, to be honest, whether India and China will have deals. They could be last-minute deals. Some broadcaster comes in and strikes deals, or FIFA kind of says, okay, we'll lower the amount to kind of reach to, we have like 2.8 billion viewers at the end of the day here in 2 countries, but there's no certainty as of this hour.
FIFA says discussions in India and China are ongoing and must remain confidential at this stage. And finally today, yet another fallout from the war in Iran. This time, it's the world's most consumed food staple, rice. The conflict, combined with an El Niño weather pattern, is setting off alarm bells that the global supply is about to come under serious strain. Asia commodities reporter Naveen Thukral explains.
What's happening now is that we have Iran war going on, and that has cut off supplies of fertilizer and fuel. Those are the 2 key inputs for farming. Fertilizer prices in some of the markets have risen 60%, and diesel prices have also gone up through the roof. So when they look at the prices of rice in the market and when they look at the prices of inputs, it's no more profitable to produce rice. And that's quite a dangerous situation we are heading into.
For more on any of the stories from today, check out Reuters.com or the Reuters app. Don't forget to follow us on your favourite podcast player. If you're listening on a smart speaker, just ask for the latest news from Reuters 7 days a week. We'll be back tomorrow with our daily headline show.
That's it for your news updates. To see more stories, open Google News.